So I decided not to share it to individuals, like we normally do, because I don't know who is interested in this post training coaching collate. Columbus, welcome. Thank you for joining. So I didn't share to individuals. So it's those who are really interested that will be here today. And those are the people that Collate will take into account that they want the session. So to take us further, I'll just share the agenda for today with us, and then we kickstart the session. So today, like I said, we have just 1 hour, and agenda. We look at some videos about Collate, just to remind us who Collate is, what they're doing currently, and the FF Plus project, what's still about, what's our role as individuals or as organization, and what's the role of Collate. We'll look at that for 10 minutes just to reorientate ourselves. Then we'll go to the presentation on the criteria for eligibility for this physical training or coaching at your different organization. Then we'll talk about the action plan that you have to develop, a full action plan that you have to develop in the next 2 weeks. I'll share with you the guidelines, and then you can note down all your questions as we are taking this different presentation. We'll not break in between. We'll want to finish all the presentation, then we'll give room for question and answer so that we can really ask all the questions we want to. And after the presentation on the action plan, we will be having Giselle, is one of the technical team from Collate, which will be speaking to us also on some of the things that we earlier presented and other things that Collate will be informing us about. And then she also will be around for the question and answers for questions that we can't answer, that is meant for Collate to, speak on. She will be in the position to speak on such questions. So this is what we do in the next 1 hour, and like I promised us, we'll finish. Even if we finish earlier than 1 hour, that's it, and then we can go to our respective organization and keep working. Thank you, and permit me to stop sharing the screen and then share the videos that we have for today. Thank you. So we'll start with the first video. We talked about Collate ACP moving to Collate. I'm sure a lot of us have seen that video, but it's just to
ACP is co-lead and more than you think. It's a bridge, it's a link, a network of companies of experts and stories. A whole family united and friendly. We are the supporters of the SDGs, the vulnerable, and the development needs.
Our goal?
Sustainable development. Online, on the ground, we design your own science, technical assistance, vocational training, and digital performance for professionals. We broker our research. Innovation and information, it's smart agriculture for each culture. We design and perceive. News, data, information are the fruits of reason. From markets, we see trends on the horizon. We forge alliances.
Are you joining our forces?
As we become stronger in our quest to be better. We help people grow today and tomorrow. As we change, let's try to exchange to be the creators of the new generation and millions of actors who have the passion in the field and cities where opportunities overcome the obstacles and
sorry about my network. Why this time? Oh. Okay, sorry about that. Let me play the next one.
struggles. We believe in social enterprise. to gain and to perceive a new future. Singing this new refrain, let's act as co-leader.
Let's be a game changer.
Thank you. Then look at the second one. Who says who co-led his? Who are they? So, okay.
So tell me, John.
Take a look. Here's the photo of a company that produces fresh mango in Mali. And this is a picture of Marlene.
Hello, my name is Marlene Amegampwe, and I'm the General Manager of SES International.
How interesting.
Now, Marlene is 27 years old and originally from Benin. The company that she runs has seen incredible growth. In 2007,
C'est le Coléagique avec plus de métiers. C'est un peu une liaison, un réseau, une maison d'entreprises et d'experts. Une famille entière. On est les supporters des ODD de la Terre pour les plus vulnérables et pour tous nos partenaires. Objectif,
Développement durable.
en ligne, sur le terrain, on forge les chemins de l'assistance technique. On forme au numérique tout comme au présentiel pour les professionnels. On cherche et on diffuse la smart agriculture.
Sorry about that. The other one kept playing. Let me just stop it. Okay. So we can go on with it.
What happened? Has Marlene found oil in her field?
No. Amongst other things, the company benefited from EU assistance.
What? The European Union invests in African companies.
No, not directly. SCS is supported by COLI ACP.
Collier what?
COLI ACP, the Europe, Africa, Caribbean, Pacific Liaison Committee. We're an interprofessional organization from the private sector. We represent producers and exporters of fruit and vegetables in the south and European importers in the north.
And what do you do?
Together, we account for more than 85% of the flow of fruit and vegetables from ACP countries to Europe. For 40 years now, our entrepreneurs have been aware of the importance of their role in the development of their region.
But where on earth do you come from?
At the end of the 90s, regulations on food products became more stringent in the EU. There was a risk of losing an important market for exporters in the south, which would have had a catastrophic socio-economic impact for small producers. We alerted the European Commission, which worked with the ACP group of states to design and finance a technical assistance program. This program was entrusted to COLI ACP. It's called the PIP.
Strange name.
PIP is well known in ACP countries. Millions of small producers have benefited from it and have been able to meet this challenge. Let me illustrate what I mean. Imagine the regulations as a train that's constantly moving forward and doesn't stop. The ACP producers are afraid they'll miss the train.
And?
Well, COLI ACP gave them the means to catch the train and climb aboard. And it doesn't stop there. COLI ACP is now ahead of the train. We anticipate evolutions in the market. We pay close attention to railway points.
Railway points?
Well, for instance, without knowing it, we anticipated the principles of social responsibility. Along with the European Commission, we also pioneered public-private partnerships for development.
Thank you. We look at the next one, which says what COLID do.
Practice. What do you do exactly?
Well, let's go back to Marlene. She wanted to meet her customers' requirements for organic produce and implement an ethical approach.
Oh, very trendy.
Her company started by sending a request for support to COLI ACP. Well, we started by building an action plan with her with a dedicated budget.
What do you mean by action plan?
You need to understand that COLI ACP support is centered on technical assistance and capacity building. And it is always based on cost-sharing principles between the beneficiary and COLI ACP. So we identify and define everyone's responsibilities.
Practically?
Marlene focuses on infrastructural improvements, while we take charge of the capacity building of her staff. Every single support activity in the action plan is conditioned by the completion of the company's counterpart.
And does it really work?
It always works with motivated companies. When Marlene took on an ethical approach, we advised her, but she had the potential.
You are a kind of coach.
Exactly. The support provided by the European Development Fund has a leverage effect. As soon as customers are confident in a company's performances, it gains the trust of financial backers too.
Any figures?
SCS now exports 1,500 tons of fresh mangoes to Europe, and Marlene is in a much better position to access various funding sources for her investment projects.
Is that a lot? 1,500 tons of mangoes.
SCS is still an SME, but its growth is impressive. It's gone from exporting 2 containers in 2007 to 60 in 2014. At the start, Marlene worked with 40 small producers, all certified. And today she works with 5 times that number.
For the capacity building, as you call it, do you send the European experts in the field? That must cost an arm and a leg.
No, we work with local resources. Now look, this young woman is called Niama. She goes to villages and trains growers who produce fruit for SCS. Collier ACP designed the educational materials.
But this Niama, then is she paid by Collier ACP?
No, she is employed by SCS. Marlene hired her. But Niama was trained by a local consultant, who in turn had been trained by Collier ACP. In fact, we train trainers. We put together both technical and pedagogical training. We have developed tools and a methodology that works really well in the field. We've also set up an e-learning platform.
How many people out there are like Niama?
There are tens of thousands in companies trained by our network of around 1,000 consultants. We have, in fact, created self-sustaining support mechanisms.
You seem quite proud.
Yes, we're happy to see the experts that we've trained offering their services in other ACP countries, a South-South cooperation. And I'd go even further. These local consultants now contribute to the design of our future interventions. They add their input to our methodology and to our tools. You could almost call it a South-North cooperation.
Thank you. So we watch the next song, which says, what else do Collier do?
Actually, you're a training body.
We train, but that is only part of what we do. We defend the interests of our beneficiaries at an institutional level. We keep them informed. We also have a research and development department.
What do you develop? New varieties of fruit?
No, we produce, for instance, very detailed technical manuals. They're really Bibles. Local agronomists use them in the field to improve, for instance, food safety for fruit and vegetables. We also provide support to put in place quality management systems so that companies can ultimately obtain certification.
Organic, ethical, that kind of thing?
Yes, and plenty more besides. To date, Collier ACP has published more than 500 references, which we freely shared with partners such as the FAO and the ITC, and national bilateral cooperation agencies such as the AFD, the GIZ, SNV.
But do you only work with the private sector?
No. One of the program's key success factors has been its holistic approach, considering the business environment as a whole. We build the capacity of laboratories, universities, professional associations, but also of the relevant competent authorities. Our EDES program is aimed at the public sector. We adopt an integrated approach to have an impact on the entire value chain.
Okay, I will listen to the last, watch the last one. I'm talking about the Fit for Market Plus program.
And support as far as certification.
Meet the requirements of their markets.
Access new markets and get our product to a level or a standard that can be fit for export.
The Fit for Market Plus program is aimed at member countries of the Organization of African, Caribbean, and Pacific States in the horticultural sector, and more specifically at smallholders, farmer groups, and micro, small, and medium enterprises. Its main objective is to contribute to the reduction of poverty and the improvement of food security and nutrition by supporting the construction of a fairer, safer, and more sustainable agri-food sector. FFM Plus supports horticultural sector actors in maintaining and improving access to national, regional, and international markets while adapting to the changes in the operating environment due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The program provides capacity building to help seize new market opportunities by adopting low carbon and climate change resilient strategies through the development and adoption of safe and sustainable practices, skills, and technologies. FFM Plus support should also facilitate the transition of African, Caribbean, and Pacific horticulture to more sustainable food systems, addressing priority areas identified in the European Green Deal's Farm to Fork strategy. Fit for Market Plus is a €25 million program funded by the European Union and the Organization of African, Caribbean, and Pacific States. The program builds on the Fit for Market programs and the results of the COLI ACP COVID-19 Action Plan for March 2020. For more information, visit the Fit for Market Plus page on the COLI ACP website.
Thank you
Marketing.
for watching patiently those videos. And now it permits me to stop sharing my screen, and then we'll go to the presentation that we have for today. Please just going back to my, yes, please. So I'll share my screen again with the presentation that has been put together for us to be able to understand what we are doing today. And to take us into that is Ricky, my co-trainer. Ricky, are you with us?
Yes, we can continue into that. So allow me, you will just keep on with the slides, and then I will I'll take the group through that. So please continue to the next slide. So good morning, good day, everyone, and thank you again for joining us. And, in this brief section, which is really just a reminder, what I will be reminding us of is the criteria, and really just reviewing that with us. And if you have any questions on that criteria or anything that is not clear, moving into the coaching segment, which is what is being introduced today. We did speak about it last time, and of course, it's good that you have joined us. We've been looking at what you've been doing on the platform since the last session that we had, and that is also commendable. So please remember, the purpose of this is to identify and support those of you who want to actively implement some of these recommendations or measures that we have been covering, that will enable you comply with requirements for organic certification. Of course, it is informed more by the requirements of the European Union market, but we are also in a position to speak to specific markets that you may want to review. So whether they are in the EU or in North America or in the Far East, which of course we did review, they have different specific standards. And most importantly, the purpose is to review your individual needs assessments, the synthesis that you did, and to really identify by way of exchange what are some of the major interventions you may need to undertake in order to address the non-conformities. So allow me, we can move to the next slide. So basically, just to remind us about the eligibility, of course, all of us being on this training course was the first big step. And all through the last 4 weeks, we've been emphasizing the need for us to be engaged throughout the training by way of participating in the sessions, both the sessions that we were having online, such as today's, but also in the activities in between our sessions, whereby we had some few key steps for us to fill out on the e-learning platform, including, just introducing yourself, stating your expectations, giving us a bit of a background of your organization. And of course, as we went through the different sessions, we'd have these small exchanges. For example, what have you learned this week, or just doing a quiz, a short quiz on a session. And that is really what makes up the first criteria, which was receiving a training certificate for successful completion of this particular training. So the training certificate is not just about making that last submission for your action plan, but that level of participation all through. So we've been monitoring your participation by way of, are you joining the online sessions? Or if you're not in a position to join these online sessions, have you communicated in advance? And then, of course, are you engaged in completing the assignments and uploading them to the platform? We've been giving you feedback on that. And we've seen, some of us have been able to act on the feedback. Some of us are still struggling. And of course, when you're having a session like this, we need to know why exactly. We can see some of the inputs in the course evaluation, which we will also take into consideration as we prepare our reports. But it is good, and I think it's possible for all of us to have completed the activities that were aligned with this training as we went through the last 4 weeks. For the second requirement, this training was meant to support companies that are considering conversion. So of course, the issue of having never been organically certified then comes up, because if you have been organically certified, then of course you have had access to some resources, and that would mean that you take a different path by engaging with COLLEAD. And of course, as Olaume mentioned, we will have a representative from COLLEAD with us to address maybe some of the questions you have. So the second point is just to ensure that we have not been organically certified before. This is your first time for your enterprise. And then, of course, the third one, we want to be clear that you know which market you want to target. Remember, we looked at issues around market structures, market opportunities. So you need to have some clarity within yourselves, consultation with your management. We were hoping to see more of management representation along with yourselves today, so that we would have, a fairly good idea and maybe exchange in terms of addressing maybe some of the queries that would be there. So that said, it is very critical that you are clear which markets you want to address or tap into, and of course then which structure works for you. And in the sense of structure, we are looking at the setup, of course, with direct enterprise, or you have outgrowers, what we talked of, the grower operator groups, or groups of operators. So we need to be clear which structure you have in place, so that, of course, then we can align ourselves in terms of coaching and working with you through that. The next requirement is for us to have submitted our post-training assignment, which needed us to conduct a needs assessment and then develop the action plan. And you remember we spoke about that in the sense of what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses, and what are the areas that you then need to make some corrective actions about. And this is your initial action plan. So we talked about the human element, we talked about the technical element, we talked about organizational element, and of course we also talked about the economic element in the sense of the market. So that is part of the process, but you then have to compile this and have a more detailed needs assessment and an action plan that gives you a clear indication of what investment is required for this to be successful. And you're looking at that we are talking about, remember when we did the session on economics and looking at the costing, we actually looked at operational costs, we looked at capital costs, but we also looked at other associated costs that sometimes we may feel or fail to take into consideration that have an impact on how your product will arrive at the market and whether or not you can be competitive. So that's part of this action plan that we require all the companies to have put together. And then, of course, critically, have you done some initial engagements with your target market? You know, do you have some indication that yes, these markets are interested in your specific products? And maybe they have even gone to the extent of saying, you know what, we're looking at doing business with you based on your profile in next year, in the next 6 months. We're interested in your therapeutic products. We are interested in your fruits, or even some of the vegetables or whatever it is that you're producing. And of course, then this would be demonstrated by either an email that you had email exchange with the clients, or maybe you've already received some pro forma order or something, but just something that indicates that you do have at least an initial contact with the market and you're looking to follow through, because the nature of the training was actually practice oriented. We were not doing this for an academic exercise, much as there are issues there that we are covering that are academic or theoretical in nature. So that's briefly the eligibility criteria. Quite happy to to take or address any questions associated with that, even as we move to the next session, where we'll be looking at the activities, and the specific activities. So I don't know if there's a question on the chat, or we can move along to the next slide.
Okay, thank you, Ricky. It's not a question for this purpose, and like I said before, all the questions will be taken after Giselle and made our own presentation. Okay, so if you have any question concerning what Ricky has just presented, kindly note it down so that you can ask your questions. So what are the activities that you need to carry out? Hello?
My question is,
can you let us finish? That's why I said,
okay.
Let's write it down. Once it's question and answer time, then we'll go on asking all the questions. But let's just finish what we are expected to inform you about then. And also because the college staff is joining us at 9:30 because they were having other meetings. So there are questions that probably I will answer, but she needs to put, or we are going to answer, but she needs to put a touch on it, or from their own perspective also. Thank you. I just want to be sure she's the one that just joined us. But no, she has not joined. Okay, so let's move on. So what are the activities that we need to carry out in the next 2 weeks? It's just 2 weeks that we need to do this. One of it is that you would have received your certificate, like Ricky said. So in the next few days, it means that you have completed all the work that you're supposed to do, and your certificate has been issued, because you have to attach, when you're submitting all these documents, because you're going to submit on the e-learning page. So when I finish now, I will open the e-learning page and I will show us. You're going to submit all this on the e-learning page. Means that you download your certificate, you save it, and when you're putting your document, you have to put that certificate that one of your staff actually attended this organic agriculture training. So the next thing is to do an action plan to convert to organic agriculture according to pre-identified standard. Whether you're looking at the EU standard, or you're looking at the NOP, you're looking at JAS or BioSuite, whichever standard, depending also on the market, will now determine the standard that you will be making your action plan on. The duration of the coaching, the physical coaching now, is going to be between 3 to 4 days, probably at most 5 days if this is a large group, which an expert is going to come physically to your enterprise. He or she will have looked at your action plan and highlight the challenges and do a lot of correspondence with that organization in case there are other information that he or she needs to understand, and then prepare ahead to come over, discuss some of the opportunity, discuss some of the way forward, discuss some of these things with you. So that analysis of action plan, we will and college will do from Monday, 8th of May to 19th of May. That's also 2 weeks for us to analyze your action plans that you'll be submitting and to get prepared for the physical coaching. Then from 22nd of May, that is when the physical coaching will now take place at the different organizations for those who meet the criteria and for those whose action plan are scaled through. So what are the things that are expected in your action plan? These are templates, and you'll find it inside the e-learning platform also under the post-training coaching. So we ask few questions: the name of your organization, the country of operation. You can even go ahead to add the county because of travels. So it's easy to know exactly where the coach will be going, so that booking for buses and things like that, they understand the distance from the airport and things like that. Then the type of producer that you are you a single operator or you are a group of operators? You need to identify at this point. So that also will determine the number of days that the coach will be staying with you. And that has to be communicated with you ahead so that you know. Then for the group of operators, how many farmers are in your group? If you have 10 groups, you have 20 groups, you need to put them 20 groups. Then in total, what's the number of the farmers in total you need to put there? Then the total area of land. The total area of land for those, whether it's your individual farm or it's a group of operators. Now you need to put the total area of land there for us to see. Then, have you started your organic conversion journey? If yes or no, you need to answer that question. If yes, you need to add the number of years in organic conversion. If you already started your conversion, you need to identify the year for us so that we'll know how far you have gone or you are just starting, because how far you have gone will determine certain elements that the coach must see. If you're not started at all, it will determine certain aspects that the coach also has to cover. The estimated volume for the main crop for organic export. So even though you might have diverse crops on your land, what is the crop that you are targeting? Is it mango? Is it orange? Is it avocado? Whatever. Is it Madam Chido? You have sweet potato. You also have the hemp. So there are two different products. One is with outgrower, one is with your individual farm. So for you, you'll be doing two action plans because one is basically for your individual farm. So questions are different. The actions plan that you need will be different. Then for your hemp projects, which is with outgrowers now, it's a different action plan that you also need to do. So which organic certification do you wish to obtain, like the EU? If you are doing UK, so you also need soil association because UK is no more part of EU. So all this has to be stated clearly in this document. Which countries are you planning to export to? Is it 1, 2? You have to state it. What are your barriers to getting certified? So here you need to tell us what are the challenges in terms of staff, record keeping, paperwork. This is like you have to have an open system. So no room to hide anything because college sending a coach is not coming to scrutinize you, but to help you. So you need to be open at this spot and be able to identify all the challenges that you have so that they will know even the best coach to send to you. Then what is the vulnerability of your farm production to climate extremes and soil infertility? When we talk about sustainability, your project has to be sustainable. And we know that climate action, climate change is really an issue now in terms of water. Kenya, has not had rain for some time. They're experiencing drought. In Zimbabwe, we don't know what are your climate extremes that are already happening that you can see, and the soil infertility issues that we have, because then the coach will be able to provide good information to you on your soil issues. What are the things that you need to do? What the kind of compost you need to build? Because when you are able to explain all this, the person will prepare ahead very well for you. So here, the next thing is you need to prepare your need assessment. You need to identify the checklist with the requirements. Checklist for NOP is different from the checklist from JAS. Sorry, there's a question. Just a good morning, welcome. So then the checklist for EU is different. So you need to check the checklist the auditor normally use when they come for certification. So that will help you to put your need assessment. What do you need? What are the areas that you want the coach now to cover when he or she comes to your organization physically? So you need to put that need assessment. So some need assessment might be more than 2-3 pages. So what we've said in the e-learning platform is that you can attach it as a document. So you don't necessarily have to paste it in that session where in the Word document. You can just label it as your need assessment with your organization name, and then you attach it into the e-learning platform where you will submit. Then the third aspect that you have to answer is your action plan now. So you need to draft an action plan and how you wish to correct the non-conformities. So those non-conformities that you have seen, according to the standard that you are working towards, what are the areas that you are not conforming with that standard? Like we really dealt with the EU standard, but if you are doing NOP, what are the non-conformity? If you are doing JAS, what are the non-conformity in your own establishment that you need now to work towards? Now, this is where you need to now put those information out for us to see. So we put example there for you, like plant protection, use of chemical pesticide. Maybe some of the farmers are still, or you are emphasizing that they are still using chemical pesticide. So that has to stop if you're going to do organic. So you need to now, the corrective action that you need to do is find biological alternative for chemical pesticide. And then you need to name those biological alternative in your document that you have to find in your country. Tools to carry out. What are the tools? So you list approved pesticide that has been approved for organic production according to the standard that you are using, that you find available in your country. Then who is responsible for that action in your establishment? Because when the coach comes, he's going to also be speaking to whoever is responsible for this, because the coach wants to see, have you gotten that information? Wants to read the label also to help you. Is it truly organic? Is this certified as organic? Because it's very important. So these are the questions that you will ask. And then the timeline. What is the timeline that you need to do this? You need to state, it's your own convenient timeline, but you have to state it there. So the activities that you need to carry out, processing practices, production practices, documentation, if you are doing group of operators, if it's individual farm, also your own production documents, the guidelines from the standard that you are using, and other documentation. Maybe there is also your country, there's some documentation that you need to take in terms of probably FDA or something like we have in Ghana, GSA and things like that. So all this documentation, even if you have not taken them, you've not had them physically, you need to name all of them, and then you put the timelines, who is responsible to go to that office. So record keeping, you need to put all the information, your non-conformity to record keeping. What are the information that you are not keeping in your record books? Then infrastructure and equipment. Do you need any equipment to conform to the new EU regulation, the NOP standard? So what are the infrastructure that you need? What are the equipment that you need for your work? The human resources. Do you need further training for your staff? Do you need skills for them? Do you need more staff? So all these needs to be put in this document. Then we go to cost of certification, your initial certification. What is the estimated cost of this certification? So you need to put there, you must have an idea. That means you've communicated to one of the certification body, and that's why we did that in week 3, for you to have an idea of your cost of certification. Then you come to this place, the internal audit. What is the cost every year, and who is responsible for internal audit in your organization? Sampling and laboratory cost, yearly recertification audit. So the first year, yes, then every year you have to do certification. What is going to be the cost? What is the likely cost going to be? Then yearly maintenance cost of certification. Then that's maintenance cost of certification. There are activities that you as an organization have to do. What is the cost? That is why we have direct cost and indirect cost in week 3 when we were doing the cost of certification. So all this you need to put in your action plan and submit within the next 2 weeks. So from today, this week, next week, Friday is the last day for you to do this. That's why throughout the week, we're asking you to do all these assignments bit by bit. So now is a time to put everything together and then submit it if you want coaching phase with Collate. So we'll go on now before the question for Hazel to present to us further information. Before now, we now give room for question and answer. So over to you, Hazel.
Hello, everyone. I don't really have more information to add. I think Benedict, you've told everything. Sorry, I did not join the meeting in time, but maybe, yeah, I will be able to add information with the question because I did not hear everything you said, but based on your presentation for me or was included. So maybe with the question, I will be able to give more information. Thank you.
Thank you. So now there's room for question and answer. We have 15 minutes before the end of the session, please. Before you wanted to start the question, so go ahead, please, and start your questions. Over to you, Bafo. If Bafo is not there, please, if you have any question, it's the right time to ask the question. Please go ahead.
Hello.
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 Hello, Bafo.
Hello. Yeah,
Okay.
Bafo is back.
Okay.
Yes,
Good.
I wanted to know if the eligibility criteria will be made available to us, but from the presentation, I can see that yes, we can have it on the platform.
Yeah, so if you go to the e-learning page, we have another tab, which is called trainee coaching.
Yes.
So if you open it, you will see the eligibility, all this information is there.
Okay.
And that's where you also submit your your action plan,
Action
and the
plan.
need assessment and everything.
Then my question, my second question is, would the coaches come to our site or it will be online, the training?
So it's going to be physical at your establishment.
Oh, okay. Physical, okay.
So the coach is going to come physically to your organization, physically. So meaning that the coach is going to come to Ghana, to Central Region, and then to your place and visit the farm. So it's not just going to come to your office, but it's going to visit the farms.
Including the outgrowers.
Yes, it's going to go to the outgrowers, pick samples of people he wants to visit their farm, ask them questions directly also, and help them. It depends on how you want. You can even decide to organize a meeting of all your outgrowers also, so that you can speak to them directly, so that they also know that this is not just you trying to make things difficult for them, but it's because of the new regulation that you want to follow. Depends on how you also want.
I think that is most welcome, because our farmers don't understand certain things when it comes to the certification.
Yeah.
Especially for them contributing to have their own certificate, they don't understand it at all.
Yeah, I understand. So it's good that when they see an external person also telling them, probably they will understand. That's good. So it's you that needs to, it's the organization that needs to use the opportunity, maximize the opportunity to the fullest, because the coach will be there with you physically for the number of days. So you need to tap into whoever, and you're going to know the coach before. Am I speaking the truth, Giza, that they will know the coach ahead of time, so they can have interaction also with the coach? Is that going to be the situation?
Yes, indeed. From the time we validate the fact that you have access to the coaching, then it's me who will be in charge of the selection of the expert, and then I will finalize like the admin procedure, so I can put you in contact, and you can start discussing with him ahead of time.
So thank you, Madam Chido. Bafo, can we go on to the next person? Okay, Madam Chido, over to you. You can unmute yourself. Your hands are raised, so we can't hear you. Madam Chido. Hello. Hello, Madam Chido. We can't hear you. Are you there? Oh, we lost our their network in Zimbabwe has not been that good. Mike, you are here. If Madam Chido is not, I know she will join back. I trust her to join back. So will you go ahead to ask any questions for your establishment? Or if you are not ready, Columbus, do you have any questions you want to ask?
Yeah, sure. Good morning.
Good morning, Columbus.
Okay. I just wanted to find out, like in my case, we've been contemplating going the individual route, but through the training, we've realized that there might be a need to get some growers as well, just to cater for the volumes that will be required by the markets, because definitely as an individual, on an individual basis, won't be able to. So the question really is, when the physical coaching happens, can I actually bring those people that are prospective outgrowers, or is it just to be an internal thing? Thank you.
So if I may answer your question, it depends on what you feel in the document. That's why we ask you, what type of establishment are you doing option 1, option 2? Option 1 is individual. Option 2 is saying that group of operators. So if you say group of operators, it means that you have included your farm and the outgrowers, the ICS group that you are forming or you are formed into the system. So that's when you pick option 2. But option 1, if you say individual farm, it is just your own farm that the coach will face.
Okay, thank you, boss. I'd already indicated option 1, so I'll stick with that. Thank you.
If you want to change, that doesn't mean you can't change at this point. You can change option 2 if you feel that is going to work for you better. It just also means that you're not going to include certain costs that you did not emphasize before in your, when we did week 3, the cost of certification. Now you have to include the ICS manager cost, your staff and things like that, the cost of the ICS internal inspection, all that now you have to include in the individual that you have done before. Probably it makes your budget bigger, but that's just the change that you emphasize from your course. So at this point, you can change if you want to change. It's up to you.
All right, thank you. I've understood.
You're welcome. So, Madam Chido, over to you, please. We lost her again. Okay, Mike, are you there? Okay.
Benedict, hello.
I'm there, but I don't have a question at the moment.
Okay. Okay, Mike.
Can I have my last question, please?
Sorry, I'm coming. So what you can do is, if your network is still better than ours, you can call her and ask her any question she wants to ask her. Then you can ask on her behalf, or you can put it on a chat, and then we can address it. Okay. All right, Bafo, your last question. Yes.
I would like to know, is there any cost for the companies, or Collate is taking care of all the costs involved in this coaching?
Okay, so Collate is there. Don't let me speak to Collate.
Yeah, I'm not sure I understand what you mean by taking care of all costs.
So what is saying is Collate going to pay the coach, accommodation, maybe air freight, hotel, feeding, everything? Is it Collate that will pay for everything, or is there a section that the organization would do or would take care? Yeah.
So as you all know, as I suppose you are all beneficiary from Collate, there is a cost sharing principle for Collate. So of course we will take in charge the expertise. Usually we also take in charge the transport of the experts, but your share on the support we provide should be like providing expert food during his coaching when he's at your company. And so regarding the accommodation, it will depend if the expert lives far from your location and he has to spend the night there or not. This will be discussed internally. I'm not sure yet how it will go, but at least regarding the expert food when he's doing in company support, it should be on the company side, takes care of it.
Bafo?
I don't know if I responded to your question.
Did you get that?
So the companies will take care of food and the transportation. When it comes to
no. The transport. So Collate in general takes care of the export fees and the transportation from like the exports
How about internal
to a
transportation?
company, yeah, to the company. But like if when he's doing the support, you have to do some field visits, like to outgrowers, etc. That's on the company. It's the company that
Okay.
has to take care of that.
So that internal rounds control travel from one farm to the other is by the
Yeah,
company.
it's by
And then
the company.
port to the expert is also by the company.
Sorry?
Food, providing
Yeah,
meals.
the food, the food while the expert is in the company, yes, it's by the company.
Okay.
The company that has to provide it. But the export fees, colleague takes care of it, and also the transport from the company's location to the company. It's also a colleague that takes care of it.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you. Madam Chido, are you back now? Yes.
Okay, I'm back now. Okay, what we wanted to find out from you is if we want option 1 and option 2, because in this case we are growing medicinal cannabis and hemp under option 1. But with our sweet potatoes, that's where we have our outgrower scheme.
Okay, so
that's my question.
Grezel, she has 2 options. So it means that an expert that will be sent to her will spend more days because the expert will look at their organization, which is individual, and work with the hemp as an individual option for some number of days, and then move from that to the outgrower scheme, which is another product entirely, which is potatoes, sweet potatoes. So she's asking now that, is that going to be possible for them if they submit 2 need assessment, because they have individual and they have outgrower scheme for 2 different products?
That's a very good question, actually. I don't think we already thought of that type of situation. But actually, the numbers of coaching should be adapted depending on the needs of each company. So it's case by case situation. So this will have to be discussed of the people in charge also of the follow-up of your memorandum of understanding of development project. But the coaching is can be adapted case by case. So there should not be any big issue with that, but of course to be discussed. I think Ms. Metewe is from Zimbabwe, so it should be with Marianne. So yeah, to be discussed, but normally it should be okay.
And then another follow-up question, where do we find this checklist? You remember during our last session, I asked you about that hemp certification, whether it is organic, and where do we find those checklists? So that we know exactly what is required to help us to fill our needs assessment.
Okay, so the checklist, some of them have already been added to the post-training page. It's not inside your normal training page. So it's just in the post-training coaching. Then, like you now mentioned the hemp especially, so I have to look for the hemp if it's different from the EU general one, and then had it there for you. So, but we already have some of the checklists there already. And then you've received the standard for EU before, the regulations for EU before, so you have that. Yeah, NOP is already there, and I think one other one is already there. So we check those checklists that you need, and we'll make sure that we put everything there for you. Columbus, your hand is raised. You can go for it. Columbus? You can unmute yourself. Good.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes, please.
Yeah, sure. Sorry, I think I'm taking you a bit back. I think it was in week 3 when I did ask about the documentation that we need, like maybe for a startup organic organization, that for record keeping and different types of documentations. And Rick had indicated that we could probably be getting some at the end, or at the end of the training. So I was actually expecting them maybe at the end of week 4, but unfortunately we haven't got any. Are there any chances of getting any templates of the documentations that we need to keep at the farm?
Okay, for record keeping. So,
Yeah, sure.
okay. So also, you know, all this is a function of the standard that you are working, regulation you are working with. Even though there are general basic requirements that you must keep, but I will look for the record keeping document for each standard right now. I will look for the basic one, which is a basic general one, and then we'll look specific for each standard. And then we will put it there for you to use.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, is there any other question? So I've noted, I mean, the specific right now, record keeping documents that you really want to see what EU or what America is asking for, that's okay. Then the HEM checklist, if it's different from the regular EU checklist, that I've noted. And any other documents that you expect that you need for certification. Yes. So I think, because what we'll do is we'll talk about, I'll send you a mail and then we'll look at all these documents and then we share with them so that at least they feel comfortable and it's easier for them to a soft landing. I think they want a soft landing.
Yeah. Thank you.
So that's a I mean, they are there, the documents are there. We just need to, the ones we can find publicly, because some we can't find publicly. We need to, like ECOSAT, we need to ask ECOSAT. College will need to ask ECOSAT for such information and then share with us, and then we'll put it there. And so also, if some information are like really not something you can share at a larger group, we'll have to inform you that this information has to be kept within this training. And so you can't share it with your other colleagues that probably want to go into certification but didn't attend this training. So all this information will basically inform you. And so we will be putting more of this in the post-training. I think we'll put all this in the post-training coaching, because then it is for those who really want to go into the certification that needs all this high-level information. Okay, Hannah, do you have any, Dara, do you have any other question? We've exceeded our 10 o'clock. If you have any question, please go ahead in the next 1 minute to ask your question. Samuel, if you have any question, there's a question in the chat. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mike. So if you have any question, just the next 1 minute so that we can end the day. Any question from you, Dara? Okay, you are fine. Thank you so much. Samuel, I hope you're good also. And Anna, I hope you're good with all the explanation. So if you have any further question, don't hesitate to send a WhatsApp, which is the easiest for everybody, or you send a mail to us. And if we can't, myself and Ricky cannot answer these questions, we'll pass it on to Collate and ask them just to be sure before you give you the right information. So don't be afraid in these 2 weeks. ask as many questions as you need to clarify anything at any point. Go ahead and ask, and then we'll help you through the journey, and then we'll see you there soon. Yeah, thank you. So in the absence of any other question, we'd like to close the day. Gazelle, do you have any last word for them?
No, like you already said, we remain available if they have any additional question. And yeah, we hope everything goes well. And I will get back. I will be in contact with them when the coaching starts. Me who's gonna do the follow-up, so on your contact point for that.
Thank you so much. Ricky, any last word also from you?
I think we've said everything, and we need to, I think, just be reminded that this particular phase is also having a time limit. So the sooner we can get feedback from everyone, the faster everyone is engaging, then the better in terms of meeting your expectations, but also completing this particular stage of the assignment. And I'm sure some of us are really eager to move on to the physical coaching. So it is really based on each enterprise. How fast you will move is dependent on how fast we can complete the steps and the processes that have been pointed out. So let's all try and do our best as things get busy. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much. And thank you for reminding everyone, because this adds time limits. So it's not like the 4 weeks that you can submit your assignment of week 1 in week 4. This one, the 2 weeks elapses, that's the end, you can't submit again. So please get to work and make best use of the opportunity for any clarification. Thank you very much, and please do have a wonderful day, and bye for now.
Thank you, Benedict. Thank you, Ricky.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye, everyone. All right.